Hello, everyone. How are you? Let me introduce myself. I'm Andreas Huga. This is a story from when I was wandering in a city at the northern end of Java Island called Pekalongan. At that time, I had just started working for a company that provided outsourcing services to state institutions. On my first day, I was assigned to clean a house that would later be used as our office. Since it was only me and a colleague named Agung on our first day, we were tasked with cleaning the house. The place was an old building divided into two large sections. One side was a typical house, while the other was a former maternity clinic. Yes, you heard that right. A clinic where countless babies had been born. The house was painted white, with a large mango tree standing ominously in front, surrounded by vast, empty fields. It had been abandoned for 2 years. Rumor had it that the clinic had been forced to close due to problems with the employment. Some whispered that several babies born in the clinic had died under mysterious circumstances. Only God, the neighbors, and perhaps the clinic's former staff knew the truth. We unlocked the door and stepped inside. The first thing that hit us was the musty smell of decay, mixed with the pungent odor of stagnant water and mosquitoes. The place looked exactly like what you'd expect from a house left untouched for years. There were 4 rooms inside: a living room, a kitchen, a bathroom, and a large storage room. The layout was simple but eerie. The living room was immediately visible when we entered. On the left was the first bedroom, the second and third rooms located further in. Beyond that, there was a hallway leading to the bathroom on the right and the kitchen at the end. Adjacent to the kitchen was the fourth room, and behind that was the entrance to the storage. We decided to open all the doors, windows, and turn on the lights to let some air in. After gathering cleaning supplies, we started with the storage. We chose to clean it first, since all the tools and supplies would be stored there. As we began cleaning, moving old bird cages, cabinets, tables, and chairs, we found something strange. It was an old rag inscribed with Javanese and Arabic characters. Agung and I exchanged uneasy glances, unsure of what to make of it. Without much thought, we tossed the rag into a small box and continued cleaning. An hour or so later, we stumbled upon another peculiar item: an iron waistband with the same Javanese Arabic writing. Time seemed to slip away as we discovered more and more strange objects. Our collection had grown alarmingly large by the time we decided to stop. Our curiosity piqued. We did something foolish. We decided to burn it all. As we set the fire, what should have been a simple act of burning turned into something terrifying. The flames leaped unnaturally high, the color shifting from blue to yellow before the items turned to ash. The atmosphere around us became heavy, filled with an ominous sense of dread. It felt as if the air was crowded, even though it was just the two of us. Fear overtook us, and we hurriedly left the house. Thankfully, nothing happened to us after that, despite the reckless thing we had done. 2 days later, we returned to the clinic. This time, we were joined by new colleagues: Tony, Udin, Sijit, Hendra, Mr. Tungul, and his wife, along with their 5-year-old son. Our supervisor also showed up for a briefing. Mr. Tungul and his family were asked to live in the office to keep an eye on the inventory, like motorcycles and computers, so nothing would get stolen. That day, we began setting up rooms for various purposes, including guest rooms and offices. Agung, Tony, and I were assigned to clean the kitchen and the mysterious fourth room. We cleaned the kitchen thoroughly, but when we tried to clean the fourth room, we found it locked. No matter what key we tried, the door wouldn't budge. We had no choice but to skip it and move on. That night, we all decided to go home, leaving Mr. Tungul and his family to settle in. The rest of us, Udin, Tony, Agung, Hendra, and I, went out to hang out. We were getting to know each other, as it was still our first few days together. But our casual gathering was cut short by a phone call. It was from Mr. Tungul, and his voice was trembling. "Please," he said, "someone come to the office." We raced back to the office on our motorcycles. The house, which had seemed eerie during the day, now looked downright terrifying in the dark. As we approached, the smell of blood seeped through the cracks of the door. When we opened it, the stench overwhelmed us, accompanied by a rush of cold air that seemed to pass through our very souls. We found Mr. Tungul visibly shaken. He explained that he and his family had heard strange noises throughout the house: children playing, baby crying, and the eerie laughter of a woman. Blood seemed to cover the walls, as if the house itself was bleeding. Panicked and scared, he had called us for help. We all stayed the night, trying to comfort the frightened family. Strangely, once we arrived, the disturbances ceased. Day after day, whenever the Tungle family was alone, the hauntings returned. Over time, they tried to get used to it, but the fear never fully subsided. One evening, as dusk settled, I decided to make instant noodles in the back kitchen. My thoughts wandered to the locked fourth room we had been unable to clean. To my surprise, when I tried the door this time, it opened easily. What I saw inside shocked me. A room filled with children's toys, covered in dust as if they hadn't been touched in years. The air in the room was stifling, thick with an unseen presence. I noticed a small door leading to the clinic's delivery room, connecting the house to its dark past. I quickly closed the door and left, unnerved by what I had seen. Later that night, as we prepared to leave, we didn't tell Mr. Tungle and his family that the fourth room was now unlocked. We figured it was better not to worry them. As usual, after we said our goodbyes, Mr. Tungle locked all the doors and windows, turned on some music, and his wife began preparing dinner. But something was different that night. The atmosphere in the house was even more oppressive than before. They tried to ignore it, but when they went to bed around 11 p.m., disturbances began anew. Loud noises echoed from the kitchen, followed by the smell of roses, which soon turned into the stench of decay. Tension in the house grew unbearable. The sound of a woman laughing and crying filled the air, accompanied by the frantic footsteps of someone running through the house. Cries of a baby pierced the night, mingling with eerie laughter. Their 5-year-old son, overwhelmed by the terrifying sounds, could only cry in fear. The family huddled together, too scared to move, until the first light of dawn broke the night's grip. The next day, the office was bustling with activity, different from usual. Employees from other offices came to check on us, drawn by the rumors of what had happened. Among them was a tall, dark-skinned man with a serious demeanor. Let's call him Simba. Another was a small, spectacled. Let's call him Mr. Eddie. They shared a chilling revelation. The fourth room had always been locked because it was a gateway to something sinister. The chain on the door had broken mysteriously, allowing it to be opened. With that, the dark secrets of the clinic had been unleashed. How's the story? For those who enjoy listening to stories like this, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. See you next time.